Hello guys and welcome to a brand new IELTS video. Today I'm gonna share with you how I got a Band 9 in IELTS Listening. I'm going to give you my tips and tricks and also share my experience of taking the IELTS test. I'll walk you step by step through the real examination process. I'll tell you exactly what to expect on the exam day, and I hope that you'll find my tips helpful. If you've taken the IELTS test before and you're familiar with the format, you can skip to this timestamp where I will share my tips. But if it's your first time, stick through the whole video. I think it's going to be pretty useful for you. So, without further ado, let me tell you about my experience of getting a Band 9 on the IELTS listening test. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more IELTS content. So, here's what the listening test looks like. This is the first part of the IELTS test if you're taking it on a computer, and it's the third one if you're taking a paper-based test. During the paper-based test, you usually start with writing. But let me talk about computer-based tests, because this is the one that I have taken. And I also conducted it as an invigilator. So after being called to the examination room, you will enter it. Then you will sit at an assigned PC. And after that, the invigilator will guide you through the entire process, so don't worry. They will explain the rules, what you can and cannot do. They will distribute some forms that you need to fill out. They will also give you some blank sheets of paper for you to take notes. And then they'll explain to you how to enter the system. Basically, how to use the software. They will tell you about how much time you have for each part. You will put on your personal headphones, and then you will test them to see if they work or not. And after that, you will start completing your tasks. There is nothing stressful or difficult about the process, but be aware that all the instructions are given to you in English and not your native language. So be careful. Now that you understand what it looks like, let's move on to my 5 tips that helped me get a Band 9. My first tip is to get to know the test format. Understanding the test format is very crucial because it helps you know exactly what to expect. It can save you from any surprises during the exam day, and it allows you to manage your time more effectively. You need to know that each section has its own unique challenges, and knowing these in advance will help you develop strategies to tackle them more efficiently. And here's how you can learn about that more. The first step is to research the format. Obviously, you can go to the official IELTS website, or you can grab a good IELTS prep book, which will give you a lowdown on the entire test structure. But if you're feeling lazy, just like many other people, here's some information for you from me. Basically, you will answer 40 listening questions. Those questions will be based on 4 different recordings. The listening section itself takes about 30 minutes. However, no extra time will be given to transfer your answers if you are taking it on a computer. In the paper-based version, you will be given 10 more minutes. But it's usually not a deal breaker, so don't worry about this reduction in time. It wasn't a deal breaker for me because as soon as you hear the answer, you can type it on your computer. Moreover, they give you 2 extra minutes to check your answers after you complete each section. So that's the first step. Your second step will be to do some practice tests. You need to try a few full-length practice tests to get a feel of the timing and question types. Think of it like running a practice race before a marathon. When you do that, you get to know the actual course, where you need to run and what you need to do, figure out where you might struggle, and learn how to pace yourself so that you don't run out of steam halfway through. So, do some practice tests to do exactly that. And the third step is to analyze. Look over your results and analyze which sections trip you up the most. And don't forget to note any recurring mistakes. This is important. Or if you don't want to do any of that, just subscribe to this channel and I'm gonna make a full IELTS listening comprehensive guide, which you can watch later when I release it. Tell me if you're interested in that. Tip number 2 is to listen to a variety of English sources. you need to know that the IELTS listening test doesn't only feature one type of accent. It's not just an American accent. It's not just a British accent. They use a variety of all of them. You'll hear people from the UK, Australia, Canada, America. So, listening to different sources is going to give you an advantage because you will become more familiar with different pronunciations, different intonations, and speeds. This will improve your ability to understand people during the test, regardless of their accent or speed. And here's how you can do it. The first step is to select diverse materials. You need to find channels, podcasts, video sources from various countries. You know, it's like trying different foods from different places. At first, it might seem strange, and as a person living in Thailand, I can definitely confirm that. But the more you try, the more you will start appreciating different flavors. Plus, you'll become a pro at recognizing those accents. So don't just listen to me. I spent years trying to develop my American accent, but listen to different sources. Listen to some sources from Australia, from the UK. Canada is not that different from America, so, it's not going to be that beneficial. But those places, definitely try to listen to people from those countries. So aside from materials, you also need to practice. This will be your step 2. So obviously finding them is not enough, you need to practice. I recommend you spend at least 30 minutes listening to all of those channels. But also make sure, and this is step number 3, to do some active listening. Passive listening is not going to cut it. Try to take some notes on key points, inflections, new vocabulary, and also main ideas to boost your comprehension. Journaling would be a really good thing in trying to develop your listening skills. Which brings me to the third tip. You need to sharpen your note-taking skills. So, as you know, during the IELTS listening test, you need to capture the information and jot it down extremely quickly. So good note-taking skills can be a huge difference maker. This way you'll be able to remember important details and avoid missing out on crucial points, which is obviously essential for answering the questions correctly. And here's how you can do it. So the first step is to learn how to contract your words. This is also going to be useful for your speaking, because when you take your notes in part 2, you need to do it as quickly as possible. The same thing holds true for the listening part as well. Stop writing the words in full, especially when you're taking notes. Try to use contractions. Think of it as creating some shortcuts on your phone. Instead of typing out huge sentences, you can use quick, short gestures which are going to accomplish your goal. And it will save you a lot of time. But obviously, learning good note-taking skills is not enough. You need to practice. And this is our step 2. Practice with audio. Basically, listen to some short audio clips and try to jot down the most important points. After you finish that, move on to step 3, which is review and improve. Compare your notes with the audio transcripts and summaries, because you need to see what you missed and what you need to improve. And this is going to make your listening skills significantly more sharp. Tip number 4 is all about building your vocabulary and improving your spelling. A strong vocabulary and correct spelling are essential for the IELTS listening test. You need to recognize the words in various contexts. And of course, you need to know that spelling errors can cost you a lot of points. Remember, your listening and reading tests are checked by a computer. If you misspelled just one letter, it's gonna mark your answer as incorrect. So you need to expand your vocabulary, and obviously you need to do more reading to see those words in context and understand how they're spelled. And here's how you can do it as well. First, try to build a vocabulary list. If you have a lot of time before your test, make a list of common IELTS topics and related words. And then keep adding new words regularly. You know, it's like curating your favorite playlist of songs. The more you add, the more variety you can enjoy, and the more prepared you are for any kind of situation. Step number 2 is to practice your spelling. For this one, you can use apps or you can use, just simple spelling exercises so that you can train yourself on the most important and most common words. And lastly, test yourself. You need to try to write some sentences using the new vocabulary, and then check for correct spelling and usage. And lastly, tip number 5, practice like it's a real test. You need to learn how to practice under the exam conditions. It will help you get used to the pressure and timing of the actual test. This will make you feel more confident and less stressed on the exam day. So try to simulate the real test environment so that you can improve your time management skills. This will also ensure that you complete all the sections within the allotted time. And here are some steps on how you can do it. Step number 1, set up a quiet space. Of course, if it's possible, try to do it at home and make sure that the space that you choose is quiet and distraction-free. Obviously, step number 2 is to use a timer. Do full listening practice tests with the real time limits of the exam. And number 3, evaluate your performance. You need to review your answers after each test, try to note the areas for improvement, and tweak your study plan as needed. It's like working on a project at school or at work and getting some feedback. It shows you where you can improve and also what you're doing right. If you know all of that, it will allow you to ace your exam. Now, if you have a few months to prepare, here is a schedule that I would use to develop those skills. So here's what you will do during the first 2 weeks of preparation. First, you need to get to know the format inside out. Then you need to start practicing daily with a variety of materials, not just American shows, not just British shows, okay? You need to include a variety. And try to practice note-taking with some short audio clips. During the 3rd and 4th weeks, try to boost your note-taking skills with longer audios, not just the short clips. Here, you can try to build your vocabulary a little bit more and practice using it. And don't forget to pay attention to spelling. Here, you can also take a full practice test under exam conditions. Obviously, you can organize this at home. Weeks 5 and 6 would involve keeping up with your daily practice, especially with a variety of accents. Here, you need to regularly test yourself and try to expand your vocabulary even more. So here, increase the number of full-length tests and make sure that they are under exam conditions. Got it? Alright guys, this is it for today's video. Remember, getting familiar with the test format is like having a map when you're traveling abroad. It's gonna save you many times from getting lost. So follow these steps and you will be fully prepared to take on this exam in the future. If you found these tips helpful, please give this video a thumbs up. I highly appreciate it, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more IELTS content. Leave a comment below if you have any questions, and I'll catch you in the next video. Good luck with your IELTS. Cheers!